Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book professionals. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And I got this guy back one more time.
What is up, Streamland? I am JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics, and I'm here to talk about whatever I want to talk about tonight, baby. It doesn't matter if it's comic book, sport.
All right, enough of that nonsense. Okay, you want to maybe roll that back a little bit?
I didn't do that shit to you last night. I didn't cancel you. I could have, but I didn't cancel you.
You're a better person than I am. I think that's what it is. That's all it is.
You know what? I know I'm a better person than you are. Let's call it. Let's put it right out there.
That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. Okay. So now that we're done with that one, okay, one more time. So what are you saying?
I hope you get stuck in traffic and shit in your pants. That's what I hope happens to you. I hope you're on the train and it's stuck in a tunnel and you had something bad to eat before you left for work and it just hits you at the wrong moment, kid. That's my passive aggressiveness coming out. You know, I won't hit you, but I'll pray for some bad shit to come back at you. You know, especially something I can laugh at.
Okay, I see this has happened to you in the past.
Hello.
How you doing, Jerry?
How you doing, guys? I don't know what I'm walking into here, but it seems like some kind
of that's one hell of an opening. That's how you open a show.
I know, for real. I was like, I don't even know what to say after all that. I'm like, JD, what you did was wrong, but I hope you don't get stuck in traffic and shit your pants. I feel like that's a punishment not befitting the crime.
Let him learn, Jerry. Let him learn. Damn it. Shit
doesn't match the crime.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, please introduce yourself.
I am Jerry Carita from Thorny Comics. How are you?
There you go. All right, listen, it's all good. Jay is someone I know. He's an idiot, but I have him on the show anyway. But
listen, I hope that bad stuff happens to him, but I also hope he has some Cottonelle wipes at the same time, so it balances out. You know what I mean?
Balances out. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
because I'm pretty sure
he did it. Trainload of people, right?
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure when he did it in his car, it was just handfuls of whatever.
I pull over.
What's up, Kenny?
This is the best start we've had yet, I think. That I've been on, anyways. This is good. This is good. I like Jay's approach to things, though. That's good. I like that.
I don't want to kill nobody, but I want them, to a little bit of indignity.
Like suffering, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mildly uncomfortable.
Yeah. Mildly uncomfortable.
Right.
There you go. So, Kenny, please introduce yourself.
My name is Kenny Aitken from Moonfire Lab. I am the writer and creator and colorist of my own comic book series, Apex Cybernetic Samurai L, and I'm currently have my second series, Blue Heart Emoji, which I'm illustrating myself with the help of Brian Belanda, who's also the artist on my first comic book series. And that one's currently on Kickstarter right now. We're running an Ashcan right now. So
cool. Nice. And it's looking really nice, man.
Thank you.
Isaac, how you doing?
Oh, I'm here. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you guys. This is how I know you guys are actually friends. When you mess with each other that much, that's a true bond. It's a guy thing. We all do that. It's a true bond. You can do that. When you can look your buddy in the face and go, "Hey, man, hope you crap yourself today." That's your best friend right there. That's how you know.
That's love, man. That's love.
It's almost romantic,
I hate that son bitch. That's all I'm saying. Hate that son bitch. I don't know why I keep inviting him on the show.
Romance. I hope you shit on yourself. I mean, not you, Tony. Sorry. I apologize. I was running the bit, bro.
What's up? How you doing? I want to know, JD, how long have you guys been married? It's been 20 years?
It's funny. We've only known each other, like 3 years now? 4 years?
Yeah. That's it.
Yep.
I cling to people. You know what I mean? Like a barnacle.
Are you two
like a damn mold?
Are you two in the same area physically? Like you meet up in person too? Okay.
Yeah. He's from Queens. I'm from Brooklyn. So it's okay. I don't hate Queens as much as I hate the Bronx. That's that 1-to-1 rivalry in New York. But at least he's not from Staten Island, so we can get along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. No, I get it. I'm from Brooklyn. I understand.
I'm originally from Brooklyn, so.
Yeah, but you moved to Queens. sold out.
Because
You
it's much nicer. It's much nicer.
You got scared.
It's much nicer.
Son.
Much nicer, son. You know, Tony, you don't live too far from me.
Nope.
Much nicer, right?
Yes, I live in Astoria, Queens.
That's why he can get away with that mustache, Tony.
Yeah.
You can't bring that over here to New York, bro. You can't do that shit.
How you doing, Ray? Please introduce yourself.
You caught me on another tab there. Speaking of tabs earlier, Ray Jameson, aka DM Ray. I am working on a book called The Mad Caps, published by Fibble Publishing. And unlike you guys, I live out in a desolate area of Western Canada where you can't get stuck in traffic to shit one's pants. So I'm good on that respect.
But you got distance. So
exactly,
you know, if you're not planning correctly, there could be a problem. You know,
but we got ditches. It's not like you got passerbys that are going to be like giving you a hard time as you're doing your duty. You know. But
let me ask, Ray, are you married?
I am.
So do you tell the wife, listen, the clock is ticking, we got to go?
No, I usually, you know what, we're pretty understanding. We almost have like a psychic bond. I don't even have to say anything. She's pretty good that way.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's a two-way street, of course. No pun intended.
Let's roll. No taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? Quick goodbye, clock is ticking, baby.
Hilarious.
All right, gentlemen. So let's start in a row. We're all on some form of crowdfunding, right?
Yes.
Kickstarter, Indiegogo, doesn't really matter, right? So
is that what that is?
The show question: are we seeing a saturation point in crowdfunding? Right? I mean, and we all seen it. You know, it's everybody seems to be a little bit down. So are we seeing that saturation point occurring, and what are we doing to combat it? So, Ray, what are your thoughts?
Well, the big one is if it's good, it will sell. So if you have something that is very similar to something that's already been done, it makes sense it wouldn't sell. Obviously, there seems to be a trend that people are a little light into supporting indie comics as of late. But I strongly cling to the idea that if it's good, it will sell. The first example that comes to mind is the very first issue of Ninja Turtles. When they made, I believe their first run, they made 1,000. They put all their money into it, and it sold like lightning fast. So they made another 3,000, and those things sold like just as fast. I think the focus should be less on the trend and more about what you're doing.
All right, fair enough. All right, cool. Kenny, what are your thoughts?
I don't know about saturation point. Maybe it's hard to know really without knowing what what's going on behind the scenes at the crowdfunding companies. But I think a lot of people have just kind of become tribal with what platform they use, and not only just the creators but the consumers. And I think it probably would be beneficial as a creator to just branch out and just use more platforms. I think if you feel like you're kind of hitting a wall, I've only used Kickstarter, so I can't say if that would work or not. But I mean, this next year I'm going to start branching out to Indiegogo, maybe BackerKit, and see how that goes. Because I think there's people on those platforms that aren't going to go over to Kickstarter and buy my stuff, so I might as well go to them and take it to them, right?
Right. So. All right, cool. Isaac, what are your thoughts?
I'd say absolutely we have an oversaturation problem. It's a tricky thing to say who can and can't be here. Like we see that, what's the number one most one ever? Berserker, that's from a major comic publisher that has an unknown guy out of Hollywood named Keanu Reeves on board.
Never heard
who could have funded the entire thing by himself. I still stand by the argument that's unpopular, and I'm sure that Neil Gaiman's and Terry Pratchett, that when they were on here, if those names weren't on that and I saw that campaign, I would think it was a nothing and I would never even give it more than a 5-second scroll. But those guys don't need to be here. They have the money. But who gets to make that decision? The only real problem I think we have now with the oversaturation is the arrival of AI, and I use this term lightly, art. And that many of us have campaigned to Kickstarter themselves to get rid of this, to ban it. It should not be here. And we're going to see more saturation as AI comic tools come out and those things. And what ultimately is going to happen is it's going to be up to the backer to decide, do I allow this to exist by supporting it, or do I ignore it and go to people who are putting food on real artist tables?
Okay.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Sorry
Tony,
to
what
sound
are your
like
thoughts?
harsh there.
No, that's fair, man.
I'm in agreement with everything that's been said so far, especially Ray. I think, you know, if it is good, it will sell, and I think you're just really focusing on, you know, make sure you're telling a story that really stands out, that is unique in a very good way. It doesn't it is not capitalizing on a trend, and you just sort of carve out your own piece during the saturation period.
All right, cool. Jerry, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not sure if it's a saturation point. I feel like last year there was a point, and I remember seeing actual statistics on this from the Kickstarter, at least, that at some point last year there were significantly more specifically comic crowdfunding campaigns live on Kickstarter than at any point ever, like by a wide margin. It spiked at one point and stayed there for a little while, and then immediately kind of returned back down. Like, it's at pretty normal, you know, since post-pandemic normal numbers at this point. And so I don't know if it's a saturation point, because I feel like this is one of those things that it's kind of new still. It's kind of like, and the market reacts to it. So, you know, as soon as people see that you can make a lot of money on a Kickstarter, you get more people launching Kickstarters, more people on Indiegogo. You get a thing like Zoop, which is still kind of, I think, growing and figuring out what it is. You get a pledge manager like BackerKit deciding they're also going to do funding. You get like a bunch of other things kind of step in to fill the void when they see there's a market that's looking to sell comics that way. So, you know, like, I think there was a point a few months ago where there were probably too many books up at the same time. But I don't know.
I think it was
in
October.
Yeah, there was like some crazy spike for a little while.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I was running a campaign right around that time, and it felt hard. It felt like hard to kind of get seen in the midst of that. But, you know, I think, it's one of those things where I think the market kind of corrects itself, because I think some people made less money than they thought they would. They saw Keanu Reeves make a lot of money. They saw a few other books that just seemed kind of random make like $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. And then a lot of people flooded the market, and most of them figured out it's like Uber with, you know, congestion pricing, you know, like the numbers. There aren't that many people on Kickstarter and Indiegogo in these places. There actually aren't that many backers. There just aren't that many people. Like, they didn't come as fast as these people with comics came. You know, there weren't as many buyers flooding in. But I think that anytime like a Neil Gaiman or some of those people like Isaac, not to like debate it, but like I like that. I like that they're bringing in, because I think some people aren't going to like start a Kickstarter account for Jerry Carita, but they'll do it for Keanu Reeves, and then maybe they'll tool around, and it's more people that we can try and sell to. They don't need to be here, and they certainly suck up a lot of the energy while they're here, you know. But I think long term that's beneficial, because those are people who now are on the platform, and every once in a while get an email from Kickstarter, from Indiegogo with your books and my books and stuff like that. So I think that's a net positive. But like, you know, I think it was saturated a few months ago, and I think it's kind of course correcting, because I think people flooded it and didn't make as much as they thought they would, and now they're doing other stuff.
Is it possible that one of the potential solutions to this little dynamic, Keanu Reeves is a great example, where he's an actor with star power. If it wasn't for him launching that comic, he might have brought in people that have never touched a comic in their life. Is there an interesting dynamic there? If you've got like an interesting project that is comics, and like, I'll use mine for an example. Mine's based off of the first tabletop RPG I ever ran, so it has a fantasy setting. So I've actually brought in a lot of fantasy-based and RPG players that might not necessarily be into comics.
I can actually support what you're saying with numbers. And when I say like them being here is more like they don't need it, but I can tell you that when I've got a campaign running, when certain big name boys show up, I do see a spike in numbers. Absolutely. I've counted every time. So it's certainly. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jay.
No. The biggest problem I think we have with Kickstarter is we have to pitch the platform as well as pitching our books to people for the first time, right? Getting them to sign up, to create the account. I don't know about you guys. I say it. I got a pre-order going on for people who've never heard of Kickstarter before. just to make it simpler for them to buy into the process. Okay. And I helped 12 people register for my last campaign. When you scale that up to the bigger names like Keanu, like what Boom also did with Amy Jo Johnson, like LeVar Burton with The Reading Rainbow, right? It brings eyes into the platform. That's one of the reasons it's that 800-pound giant. And it will benefit us because it has more people registered in the platform. And if you study online business, you know, the more clicks people take to get to purchasing your product, the less they feel inclined to purchase the product.
Right.
All right. So if that whole Kickstarter setup is off of the table, or crowdfunding setup, registering, whatever you want to call it, is off the table, it's a hell of a lot better. So if more people are registered for any crowdfunding platform, that saturation point will start to not balance out fully, but maybe start to regulate a little bit more. We do reap the benefits. You said it earlier, a few moments ago, excuse me, when you were running a campaign and these guys were bringing eyeballs onto the table. Yeah, we were reaping the benefits. There are also new creators out there, right? And some of them are not ready for prime time, and they're getting out there, and you know, they're making some money. They're making some money, but is the money they're making from their friends and family looking to support them, or from the user base that's already on these crowdfunding platforms? I mean,
that's true, but you never know. Their friends and family might eventually back one of your books, or back one of my books, or back somebody else's book. You know, because it's like what Art Victim says. It says, I kind of feel more the merrier. If 10 creators bring in their own clients, say each bring in 10, eventually you have 100 different new clients on the platform. So I think it's important that somebody like Neil Gaiman or Keanu Reeves, brings in whoever they bring in. Especially someone like Neil Gaiman. I feel that only because he is a comics guy and people know him for that. And the people he's going to attract in primarily are going to be people who are going to want to read books, and they're not just going to be there just for, just for star power, which in the case of Keanu Reeves, you're just going to get people who are just going to primarily, because he's Keanu Reeves. Whereas with Neil, you're going to get real readers in there. You're going to get people who are actually interested in actually reading and enjoying comic books.
Anyone who's getting people to like sign up for Kickstarter, I'm for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any new
because
you can't get them otherwise. Is what Jay was just saying. If you make people show up and then they got to sign up and then they have to go back to your campaign to buy the book, it's just too many clicks for you. You're gonna lose. It's like a heart. Now, it's a thing. And like I started running Facebook ads and I tried to specifically target people who looked for comics but also had liked Kickstarter as a company, and it just takes your window of people and makes it like this narrow, and like it just does. It's like you might you're then paying to advertise to
I wish you spoke to me before you did Facebook ads. The last Facebook ad I ran had, even with my targeted phrases applied to it, and even utilizing people who like my page and their friends, the majority of the impressions were coming from Facebook Marketplace, the 65 and older flea market crowd. And it's like, for me, it was a waste of money. The most cost-effective thing to get eyeballs onto your projects is doing these live streams, because Calderon will have a certain number of followers. Jimmy will have a certain number of followers. Gina's going to have a certain number of followers. Doesn't matter whether it's 5 or 5,000. Right, you could have 5,000 followers on somebody's live stream, and you may get one sale out of it. But that one stream, with 10 followers, if you get 6 followers to back your project, hot damn, that's a win for you, right?
That's right.
So it's right now, it's an eyeball game, right? And it's a little bit paralleling that old advertising concept where it takes 5 times for somebody to see your ad before they recognize it, right? And then another 5 more times before they even consider purchasing it. So, the more times you're out here on the stream, the better chances of recognition you have. It may not hit on this project, but hopefully it hits for you in the next one. The thing is, you can't quantify, you can't track metrics like that.
So, Jay, you're up.
Okay. So we're talking about platforms and stuff like that. I'm going to use a lightning rod of a creator for this example. Rob Liefeld recently launched a book on Whatnot because he does a lot of business with them, whether he partnered with them or not. He launched a book and it's receiving a bunch of sales. I don't know what the exact metrics are because they're not fully revealed, but it's trending. Do you think that some of the smaller platforms, not Kickstarter, would benefit from locking in a intercontinental style creator, right? And right, somebody who's a good working creator, to lock in and get them to not just pitch their books, but contractually get them to pitch them on that platform? And would that sway you to utilize that platform more than any other? Am I making a little bit of sense here with that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
27-part question, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
27-part question, and that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to break down things like this. It's just something that's been rolling in my head since I saw this guy launch that on Whatnot, and blowing up. Nowhere else, not stores, and he's not getting the backlash from retailers for not launching the book in their stores. Well, at least not the public backlash that others would have gotten for doing it on any other crowdfunding platform.
Interesting. All right, Kenny, what are your thoughts?
I think that just kind of goes back to what you were saying before about the bigger names bringing more people in to sign up for the platform and just getting them locked into that thing, right? Because that is a challenge, getting people to go to the platform and signing up for it and taking part of that ecosystem. Nobody wants to sign up for every social media site and every different thing that everybody's doing. So people kind of just stick to what they like, and then getting them to go where they don't necessarily know or they aren't necessarily comfortable is always a challenge. So I think that'd be great. I think that'll probably help out a lot.
Okay.
All right, cool. Isaac, what are you thinking?
It's a double-edged sword. I agree that more platforms that become big in terms of crowdfunding creates competition in the market. Competition in the market forces Kickstarter to change how they do things and potentially be friendlier to both the backer and the creator alike. At the same time, whatever platform I'm currently using is the one I want getting all the attention. So it's kind of a competition's good. It could make Kickstarter finally innovate a little bit better and be much friendlier and more willing to step to the negotiation table for creators to what we want the platform to do.
Okay.
But at the same time, if other platforms start vacuuming people away from Kickstarter, that's bad for those of us who use that platform. So it's one of those. It could be really good and it could be really bad. It would depend. I don't see Kickstarter taking a massive hit from anything because it's kind of the most well known.
It's too well established.
I do like the idea of them having some competition in that market because I've never worked for Kickstarter. I don't know what their business is like. I'm sure they work very hard. But from the outside, it looks like a turnkey operation. And I'm mad at myself for not thinking of it because all they have to do now is launch the website and sit back and just take 10% of everything that happens. And while you just go, I'll buy another golden toilet today because I can. So, but maybe it's different. I don't know. I've never worked there.
Nice.
I've been to the building. They are not turnkey.
Yep. So I wouldn't think so, but it feels like it from the outside, but that's how a lot of businesses feel.
No,
I'm not physically there.
There are some other smaller platforms that are turnkey now.
What are the other platforms you guys have used? Like I've only ever seen, like I'm familiar with Kickstarter. I know it's the bigger one, but like Indiegogo is another big one that a lot of people use. And then I know Zoop, and are there other ones? Are there like a bunch of other little ones? I know Backer Kicks doing some.
It's a good thing you just asked because Tony is currently on Indiegogo, so he can at least answer it partially.
I use Kickstarter for like the main big campaigns, and then I use Indiegogo as like second chance campaigns to do like the storefront feature that they have, the in-demand feature. So I just use them for different reasons. But if like Todd McFarlane like did a comic on Zoop, like yes, that would be great for kind of lending itself to its credibility as a crowdfunding site, but it would still need to kind of climb up to the level of like instant brand recognition that Kickstarter, Indiegogo have. I mean, like getting somebody to crowdfund something is tough already, and they have some comfortability when they hear Kickstarter or Indiegogo because they know it's like a legit, like really legit site. So I don't know if it would be enough for like a big name to just come up on Zoop and kind of raise its brand status.
I think he's got a solid point, because you got to remember half your battle as a creator on any social media, or not, I'm sorry, crowdfunding platform, is convincing the backer that you are honest and will do what you tell them you're going to do, and they will get what they're paying for. So imagine that battle multiplied by a backer not knowing if the platform itself is legitimate or reliable or holds any kind of accountability. I know for a fact Kickstarter, I can't say how I know because I signed an NDA, but Kickstarter has actually reported people as scam artists to various governments before. So they do take it very seriously, and they will act on that. We don't know if new platforms will do that.
Right. Okay.
All right, cool. Jerry, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was just curious about what other even like little platforms that are out there that I'm not aware of. Like, does anyone have a sense of how is Kickstarter a bigger operation comics wise than Indiegogo? Is it a bigger funder of comics? It is, right?
Yes.
Well, for comics, my understanding is that Indiegogo is either larger or somewhere within the realm of like close to the size of Kickstarter with the other things they sell.
Right.
Technology and all the other things.
They're really big on the tech stuff.
In what?
They're really big on the tech stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of important to remember that the comic book side of any of these, we're probably in the bottom percentile of the earners. The tech guys, the board game guys, the video game guys make infinitely more money than we do for the platform. Not talking about for ourselves, but for the platform.
Right.
Well, isn't the comic book category the number 2 category on Kickstarter?
It might be in popularity, but I from what I've, again, I could be wrong. From what I've always read and been told, it's the tech guys tend to bring in like more overall capital for the company. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right. Gross per project. Okay, that's understandable. Right.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't take a whole lot of money to make a comic, but if you want to make this new exercise bike, well, that does take a little bit more money. But the appeal is different too.
Think about like the top earning campaigns that pop to mind for comics on Kickstarter, and then like the top ones across all the other stuff on Kickstarter are like 10 times that minimum.
You don't go into comics because you want to get rich. We probably all know that.
What the hell are you talking about, Isaac? Shit.
I guess Jay's got his third Ferrari he just bought, but for the rest of us,
Mansions and Maseratis, baby. That's what it's all about for me.
Yeah. He's still trying to get the down payment together. So
for the closet. That's what I'm trying to get the down payment for. Ray, what do you think about this, buddy?
Well, going back to the dynamic of having, say, Leafield on Whatnot, my one concern about bringing in a large celebrity on an up-and-coming platform like that is up front, the bottom dollar, like that's pretty awesome for the platform. My concern is it going to leave the platform high and dry once that project is done and over with? How many the exposure is great, but I think ironically, a celebrity within the comic industry isn't as impactful as a celebrity outside of the comic industry.
Okay.
We already used the example of Keanu Reeves. If he did the same thing on Whatnot, I think more people would be inclined to stay on the platform, looking for more comics. It's just my opinion, but like I could be wrong. It's not like it's my experience on being an analyst on these type of dynamics, but.
I mean,
Calderon, what do you think, dude?
I think it'd be interesting to see some of the older heads try to come in and see what they can do and see how much people they could attract. I mean, I'd like to see if Frank Miller were to bring something original, or even John Byrne.
Yeah, I agree.
To see what type of attention they could garner, right, by coming onto these platforms, especially those two, because they're the two of the old guard that are still big names that people would want to see something from. Unfortunately, we lost George Perez, and we've lost so many others. Those are two of the last guys. I mean, Frank is doing his stuff through Diamond. I don't know how well that stuff is doing or not doing it. Some of it looks really, really nice because he has really excellent artists working on it. But I would have liked to have seen that first on Kickstarter, because it's interesting to see what is it Boom does with Power Rangers, right?
Mhm.
Is it Boom?
Yeah.
Right? And then Bad Idea, what they do with their properties, right? I mean, raising anywhere from 250 to 750,000, right? On the names of Matt Kint, Jeff. I think Jeff Lemire is working with them, but I know Matt Kint definitely raising a lot of cash. And it's interesting to see, what these other what could these other names do? What could a Mark Silvestri do? Right? What could a Todd McFarlane do? And how much interest could they bring into the platform? So maybe there is some viability to what you're saying, Jay, that it would be good to get some of these guys in, but it's convincing them, and it's also convincing them to try to have the property ready to ship. Because a lot of these guys, they're just unreliable. It's just it's one of those things that is just horrible. So
because it's like, all right, so aside from Rob with Whatnot, Milton Grieb just a few weeks ago launched that intermediary concept through ICV2 to get smaller indie publishers connected with retailers, right? Now, anybody else dropping that concept out there is not going to carry the weight that Milton Grieb,
right.
the head guy of Capital City Distribution from years ago, carries. Milton Grieb still has a presence. And I think some of the old guard would be also Walt Simonson.
Simonson, yeah. Simonson's
right?
Another one, yeah.
But you still have some of the main guard. Yeah, I guess you got Jimmy Palmiotti still doing stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
You've had Carl Cassell do some things. You got Fabian Nicieza that's thinking about doing some things. So if those guys are ripe to get into crowdfunding and their name still carries some notoriety, I think these smaller platforms would benefit from getting them linked up, to launch a project with them.
Here's some stats for you, Jay.
Go ahead.
Here are 3 categories that rank
far and away by the amount raised. Game design tech accounted for 28.85% of all 705,050 projects that successfully raised funds in Kickstarter quarter one. Quarter one of this year, high five?
Yeah. It's probably quarter one of last year.
Well, quarter one, technically business quarter one is the quarter one that we all struggled in. Quarter one for business starts that holiday season.
There you go, 2023. Yeah, okay, that's what I figured, because this quarter is not done yet, so it makes sense that it's last year. Right. So listen, the industry is a bear, right? And I mean, and the thing is like, how else do we get into this? But just I don't know, just a bunch of grizzlies, right?
Hey,
Jerry.
Hell of a segue. I love that.
That was a segue. I was gonna say I'm looking at Kickstarter's page and the stats. They've raised $7.8 billion overall.
God damn.
I just can't imagine how what small a fraction of that is made up of things like the Grizzly Crew, barely reaching $3,000 by the time it's done in a couple of days. You know what I mean?
But it's still in there. Yeah. Don't knock yourself.
It's not nothing.
Knock yourself, man.
It's not nothing.
Business 101. Any income to your capital is
Jerry, walk us through this.
Damn right.
So the Grizzly Crew is a new comic I'm working on. It's my second creator-owned property. It's my second Kickstarter campaign for something I created. It's my 4th one overall. It is a story about a team of pirate bears who protect villages from evil, mean pirates. It is an all-ages story.
Cool.
It was kind of co-created by my little boy, who at 6 years old wandered into my room. And Isaac, earmuffs Isaac, this was about 2 years ago, and it was the day that Midjourney came out. And so I, like everybody, was looking at it and trying to figure out, is this the end of civilization? Is Judgment Day upon us? And so he walked into the room and saw me tooling around with it. And he's like, what is that? And then he started feeding me things to feed to the AI thing. And just to put this out there, I don't use it otherwise. I literally played around with it that day. I was like, I don't love it, and I haven't gone back to it. But I agree with everything Isaac said about it. But we just started pitching ideas back and forth about pirate bears and what kind of bears are on the boat, and had all these really funny exchanges. So it's the seaside village is being attacked by pirates. Those are the evil, scary looking pirates. And then the next night the kids can't sleep, so the parents start telling their kids this like bedtime story, like, you guys don't have to worry, we got together with the other parents in the village, we hired the grizzly crew, they're protecting us now, those evil pirates aren't coming back, it's all good. And then you can tell by the last panel on this page here that the kids are not buying the story.
Can I ask a random question for you?
Yeah, sure.
Have you thought about using the fiasco that is the Skull and Bones game to your advantage here?
I don't know what that is.
There's a game that came out from Ubisoft that's a pirate game that I've heard nothing good about. That they've and it handled very poorly. Apparently, they called it a quadruple A game, but I've seen no good reviews in this game. I'm almost surprised you don't have an ad be like, "Hey, here's a pirate experience that doesn't charge microtransactions." Like, just slap them a little bit and try to use it. Just random thought. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's good. I mean, I don't want to piss anybody off in case Ubisoft one day wants to cut me a check and make a pirate bear video game. But
this is fair.
But I'll look into it for sure. So that's the story. And then what I try to do here is to support my artist on the book, who is Nick Justice, who is fantastic, by the way. Almost all of my add-on options are commissions from Nick. So if you support the campaign at any physical level, it unlocks, any character from pop culture. We're keeping it G-rated. It is an all-ages book. And Nick will draw on 5x8 or 11x17 in black and white or full color. Basically any character you want. Fire. Yeah. We happened to have that up when that announcement came out. Like, it was already one of the ones he had sent me.
Cool.
But that's my story.
Nice.
That's my story. It's over in just 2 days. So we're over. It's over in the early hours of Wednesday morning. So really, Tuesday night this coming week is the last chance to pick up this first copy of it.
Yeah, listen, it looks awesome. And here's the thing: is like, all ages. It's a tough sell on Kickstarter. It's a tough sell.
I have learned that. I have learned that on this. Right. I think my previous campaign, the first one I did under my own name, was Cicada Samurai. I think I doubled this money, and I did not work nearly this hard to get there. All ages. I knew going into it. Everyone had told me. Everyone warned me. All ages are harder on Kickstarter, harder to raise money for. And so,
but are you telling the story you want to tell?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I went in. I'm not complaining. I went in with full eyes. Open eyes wide open, and I think it's the kind of book that there is sort of like a handful of boxes you can check if you want your book to do well on Kickstarter out of the gate, and you're a relatively unknown person like me. I think that this book, once I've published it and printed it, will do incredibly well at conventions, because this is exactly the kind of art I would put up on a banner behind me, and every kid walking by, every parent walking by with their kids are going to walk over and go, "What's that? It looks like I could give it to my kid," and go home on a Sunday afternoon.
Smart.
I've done a lot of cons, like kids comics. At cons, you're totally right. They do super well. I've seen guys do very nicely at shows. The kids' books or kids, even regular like full-on books, do really well.
All right, cool. Well, you got 61 hours. You've already met your goal. You're all right. Cool. Hopefully, you get a few $100 more.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Not more than that. Nice. Looks awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see. All righty. All right.
Look at that. Look at that. He no segue.
No segue. Sorry, Kenny.
That was good though. That was good. I don't know you were going to be able to top that one anyway. So that one was perfect. So it was like a good advertisement. I liked it.
All right. So Kenny, we got and Blue Heart Emoji. It's kind of hard to do a segue for that one. It's just it's a great title, but hard to segue into it. But I really like.
Hard. This is a book that's close to your heart. Speaking of your heart, here's Blue Heart Emoji.
There you go. Wow. Laid it on the table right there, Papa.
That's it. I know who my new co-host is.
I'm okay with that. I got no problem with that, baby.
I like it.
So, Kenny, what are we looking at?
So this is the ash can for my first for my second book. I wanted to do something a little different than Apex, and you know Apex because you've seen it. It's a light story. Apex is like a lot of action and a little less story, and this one's a little more story and a lot of action too. But it's about this basically he's Scottish, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to make a Scottish character. He's from the Highlands, which is basically Scotland, but it's a floating island in the sky, and so it's called the Highlands. It's kind of a play on that, and Highlander. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to put that in there, and it's kind of follows like kind of like a Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy style, D&D kind of style fantasy adventure. Story.
I want it.
And basically, the story just starts out. He's on a quest. His kingdom's under siege by this ancient evil, and he's got he's the oldest son that has to go and find the ancient sword that's gonna save the day. But he finds some more stuff on the way out there, that ends up changing what he ends up doing anyway. So so it's pretty cool. I wanted to I've been wanting to illustrate my own comic books for a while. I just do the colors on my first one. It was just kind of an administrative decision on my part. I was taking too long to draw pages for Apex, and I really wasn't liking anything I was making. So I hired Brian to do the line art for Apex. And I'm a traditional painter, so coloring just kind of came natural to me. And then when I went in to do this is more like a digital painterly style of art, illustration. So I really just been slowly chipping away at this one for like 2 years now. So
nice. Now, how many issues are you looking to make this?
Right now, I got it at 4, but I mean, there's a lot of ideas still floating around in there. Ultimately, I want to make a video game. I've been training my kids to learn some of the video game programs because they have a little more bandwidth than I do, on that. So I figure maybe they might be able to teach me something if they learn it. But I'm just a huge fan of like Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. So I just thought it'd be kind of a natural thing to just go and kind of make my own story, that's kind of about, that kind of stuff. So.
All right, cool. Listen, man,
Yeah,
I enjoy your other books. Yeah, I love the artwork. Yeah, this is really nice.
I love that color scheme. That just it's almost like it paints like a bleak kind of universe, but it's still like because the character stands out so much in the background. It's almost like it really embodies like that's a character of hope, and that's freaking awesome, man. That looks great.
I like that. I might use that.
I like how the color scheme almost reflects Scottish Highland overcast.
Right. Good call on that.
I did use I did look at a lot of reference making it because I'm like, if I'm going to make something to call it that, I'm going to make sure it kind of has that, that kind of thing going on. So some kind of accuracy, at least something. It's kind of in the future, so we don't have like an exact time period nailed down. But I mean, if we got a floating kingdom in the sky, it's probably going to be sometime way in the future. So
yeah.
Shit, I'm sorry. Go back down a second, bro. To that main page, that first panel, man. You should have just thrown your main character jumping out of that background. That could have been your promo image right there, man.
Actually, I think there might be one on there that actually he's jumping off that thing. Go down a little bit. He does jump off of there at some point. So there's giant chains hanging down from him. He's got to climb back up it to get out of it and get back up there.
Cool.
So that's how he gets back up there. There isn't really a good way to get up there. But yeah, he's kind of jumping off.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's the one I've been using a lot. So
nice. Awesome. I know you've met your goal already. How many days you got left here?
You
got 61 hours.
Yeah. So I'm going to be sending out the email blast tomorrow. So everybody's going to be hearing from me.
Kenny, no coin. What happened?
No. So I'm going to keep doing them with the Apex books because they just got too expensive to make. So I'm going to finish the run with the Apex ones. Those coins, I think I have one around here somewhere. Yeah, here we go, right here.
This guy loves those coins, man.
These things are.
I really do. I really do like the coins. I have all of those.
You have all of them.
Yeah, I got all of them. Yeah.
There's a couple people come back. I think they only come back to buy the coins. They don't even want the comics. They're like, fuck it, I just want the coin. But yeah, these are pretty neat. These are the ones we've been making for the Apex comic book series, and we just I just got rid of a couple sets of them on the last when we did the trade paperback and the hardcover edition for the first volume. I still had some coins left over, so I sent them out to some of the backers for that too. So, because you got a minimum number you have to order, they get real expensive, So
Yeah,
you just wait to sell them in the full set when you get the miniseries over, bro. Don't give them away.
Well, no, I mean we sold them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does sell them, and I mean, okay, here we go. Suck You Busted, number 3.
Oh, no.
Fuck you, busted.
Oh, no.
So, Isaac, do you want me to play this video?
It's about 2 or 3 minutes long. If you want to, I won't stop.
Play it.
Play the video.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Suck you, suck it. Wait, suck you what? No, silly. Suck You Busted. America's top etchy comedy with big demon bottoms. It's the biggest Kickstarter comic in the largest city in the continental United States.
Oh, okay. What's it about?
It's about naughty demons and the folks who have to police them. When federal agent Liam J. White is assigned to me, Rita, the sexy succubus, as a partner, all hell breaks loose. Take a look.
How does this guy get anything done with a horny succubus following him around?
Yeah, I kind of make everything and everyone pretty hard. But that's just part of the naughty adventure. We've uncovered a secret plot by some really naughty demons who plan to take over Jacksonville. It'll take more than explicit nudity and wanton sexual lust to solve this case. Suck You Busted, issue number 3. Full frontal fetish assault.
So, what are we sucking exactly?
Oh, you'll see. Click, click,
I feel it.
No more magic here, you know the deal. 'Cause we both know where this is going. Brand new badge, brand new expensive toys. Just for you to know the girls and boys. It's time to get exposed from friends. I know you got your eyes.
I think we should do a crossover with the Grizzly Crew. That'd be really good. There's a lot of the same crowd there.
Well, the difference is we help them make the kids, and then you entertain the kids. I mean, it's a circle. It's a circle. It's just how things go.
We help each other. We lift a rising tide. The
reason I know that kids' books sell at cons is because half the cons I'm at, they some reason put me next to the guys that make children's books, and the whole time look at me like, "Why am I next to you?" I'm like, I didn't make the decision, man. I'm sorry. It's totally not the same audience that's going to be walking up to our tables. I'm sorry.
That's pretty good.
So Isaac,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, walk us through it. What do we got?
This is issue number 3 in the series. Issue number 2 currently holds the record for being the highest funded and most backed Kickstarter comic in America's largest, continental United States' largest city by square mileage. But hey, life is short. Take the W's you can take. We arrive in issue number 3, where Liam and Rita are ambushed by a monstrous fetish, and we are not talking ball gags and leashes quite yet. It's going to take more than explicit nudity and lusty antics to get out of this one. Can they defeat this monster, or will they be pounded into submission? The foreplay from the previous issues is over. It is time to grab your badge, some handcuffs, and ensure your equipment is well lubricated. It's time to get Suck You Busted.
Nice.
It is an ecchi comedy series a la Men in Black with a little bit of, if you like things like Monster Musume, or maybe a little bit of Tenchi, High School DxD, High School of the Dead, with the action of Kill la Kill, you're going to be in heaven. Our work is primarily anime inspired. As such, we use kind of almost like a mixture of Western and Eastern style. That being said, we are made primarily for an English-speaking audience, so it's still left to right. It's still a comic book. Colleagues in Japan advised me strongly to not refer to it as a manga, so we don't do that. But it has a lot of titillating imagery and a story that's a lot of fun. It does have a heart and a message to it, but we don't shove it down your throat. The only people getting things shoved down their throats are the succubus, not so much the readers. We have a ton of rewards on this one. Until Tuesday at 6 p.m., we have an early summoner special that gets you a metal cover from Lyrics. Those who don't know, Lyrics is part of Art Germ's team, and she does a lot with Marvel and stuff now. She is insanely skilled and almost an unfair amount of skill that she has. This book sees the introduction of a brand new succubus. That may or may not be her right there, but we'll see what happens within. It is I want to say, 28-page book. We've already got 4 or 5 stretch goals unlocked, no one coming. And so no matter what, you are guaranteed to get a bunch of exclusive items that are only going to happen on this campaign.
Very cool.
Thank you. The book is drawn by Mitsu Blinger. She is the #1 comic and manga artist out of Greenland. The colorist is Creus out of London, who is probably one of the best colorists I've ever worked with. He's also an artist. He's doing other series for us. This is issue number 3. Issue number 4 is about 80% done already. We will see that come next year. There will also be a single shot spinoff. Oh, about AI. There's our thoughts on AI right there.
There you go.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
What was that? A PSP?
It's just a general computer monitor with AI on it.
Gotcha.
We bounced around ideas for a while on how to handle that. All of our award tiers. We also have add-ons that come from anything we've ever done. I forget how many. This is, I think, our 13th or 12th Kickstarter. We've done a lot of them. And there are 2 more books coming out this year. There'll be Foxy Vacations 2024. We finally bring that back, which will see characters from across all of our universes at and I can't stress this enough, fictional adults-only naughty cosplay convention, where you'll see them in various cosplays where wardrobe malfunctions are mandatory. I have to emphasize it's fictional because when I first announced it, people asked me, when can I get tickets to this con? I'm like, I'm not making a convention.
You should have been selling them tickets, not to an actual thing, but like a nice little pre-made ticket.
That's why we're called Astral Ticket Comics. We sell you a ticket to another universe. That's our whole thing. We'll take you someplace else. In this case, I will point out that Suck You Busted takes place in the city of Jacksonville, Florida, and it sees our main cast trying to stop demons from taking over the city. That being said, as someone who lives in Jacksonville, demons taking it over may be preferable to some people, but we're not taking that stance. It's just kind of a Saturday morning-esque kind of, I'll conquer this city in no time gadget kind of deal. But the difference is that there's a lot of pie-in-the-face gags, but the pie is demon butt booty, and you'll see.
Nice. Now, I was gonna ask. I mean, dude, you got a lot here. So, do you find? Obviously, you're doing well, so it doesn't. I don't think it's that big of a hindrance. But do you find that because personally, it's like I've been through Polito's campaigns and I've scrolled through them, and as a fan, I find it like, oof, this is a lot, and it's a lot to go through, it's a lot to absorb. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, and I'm just wondering. You're the creator, so obviously you're putting in all the work. I know how much time it puts to put one of these damn things together. So how much time are you spending on this? On just putting it together.
Comics spend 1 year in production, from script writing to drawing to editing. A campaign in and of itself, the actual page you're seeing, I create all of the graphics and everything you're seeing, which is probably why they're amateur at best. I apologize. I'm not a graphic designer, but I try.
No, you did fine.
But it takes me about a month to a month and a half to actually build one of these pages, because that includes planning it. So I feel bad. People ask me like, "Oh, when's the next unlock? What is this?" And I go, "I have no idea." When's it? What's this going to come out? I don't know. And the reason for that is when I go to Kickstarter, we don't do Kickstarters unless everything is done. So everything you're seeing, the books, the stretch goals, everything, designs are already done. It's all just waiting to be fired off to the printers. But the other side of that is that I don't know what's happening, because when I first start doing this, I build it all together. We price everything out. We figure out what our margins are. We do a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of numbers. And then I look at it going, okay, and I create a document that's literally just called the plan to this Kickstarter, the guide. It's a guidebook. So when someone asks me, what's happening in this campaign? I don't know when things are coming out. I have to go back to my guidebook that I wrote for me that then tells me what to do.
Right.
Because I have no idea. I pulled the idea from, I don't know if it's accurate or not, when I was doing trainings, when I got injured, when I did training stuff with the Army, they told me that if you're going to be a general, they tell you like, hey, we're going to war with this country. How do we do it? And you have to write an entire book down to like how many bullets you need, how many men, everything you need.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that's what I want. I want a guide that just tells me everything. I can just pick it up and like, what? This campaign's slowing down. What do I do? Oh, the guide has that. Okay, I just do that now.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, way more planning than I do. Good job.
Thank you. It's. I mean, this is all I do. This is my full-time job.
Mhm.
I don't really do anything else. It's this and taking care of the partner and the cats, and that's about as much as I do. And then when it comes
Gotcha.
time to ship, I have a shipping manager. She'll help me ship everything out.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, some things happen. We do invite people, if you don't know anything about us, to click. We have links on there to our previous campaigns. Go through our comments and see what people have to say. You will find that every time anybody's ever had a damaged book, we take care of it. If it's had an issue, we take care of it. And
Mhm.
every time somebody has a comment, they're always like, "Oh, I love it." It's always positive feedback we've had on our books, and we want to continue
Nice.
that because we hold the belief that if you're on Kickstarter, the backer is the number one priority, and if that is not the case, then you shouldn't be here.
Yep. I agree 110%. Very nice, man. Look, I mean, you're well on your way. What do you got left? You got another 24 days. So
yeah, we're only a weekend.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
I just
All
started.
right.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Isaac, you the man, as they say.
No, I just got lucky to work with a fantastic group of people. That's all.
Gotcha. I mean, it's not like some other guys who are just, who are just
That good?
stars, who are just stars in their own right.
Oh, hey, that's my book.
That's right.
I see what you did there with the star thing.
Yeah.
That was good. I like that.
All right, Tony, you want me to play this video?
Yeah, go for it.
Welcome back, readers. When we last left Los Angeles, Alan Miller, our ex-detective, had nightmares about strange beings. He was tasked with finding out who killed Detective Patrick Perkins, the man whose heart had been removed. With no leads, Miller had a run-in with a UFO, who informed him that a shapeshifter knocked off Perkins. The kicker? The monster also hides within Central Police Station, alongside Alan's fellow officers. Alan deemed his experience utterly bonkers, until he found the UFO he encountered yapping to the captain. The detective barged in to let the alien have it, but instead found Alice Tate, his new partner. The stage is set. The hard-nosed detective and the eager rookie set off to find their elusive killer. In our next chapter, the two traverse 1940s Los Angeles, meeting UFOs hiding in plain sight as their mystery gets stranger by the day. Meanwhile, the shapeshifter remains at large, hunting down the other detectives of Central Station. Book 2 is penned by Mr. Tony James, a writer of sorts, lover of old noir and science fiction. Returning with vigor are his three able-bodied artists, cases in their own field, much like our detective. And hot diggity dog, get a load of our new rewards. Many of them are exclusive to this very Kickstarter. Be sure to peruse the add-ons as well. Commemorate your purchase with these additional items. Don't be a fuddy-duddy. Back Star Noir today. It's the only way to defeat the communists.
Dude, that voiceover was awesome.
Great trailer. That was good.
That was cool.
Yeah, I've seen that trailer at least 3 or 4 times, and it's always awesome.
Yeah.
So Tony, who actually does the voiceover? Tony?
His mic's muted.
Oh.
Sorry, that was me breaking a massive sweat as I try to do that voice.
Well, now you have to do it.
Because I wondered if you ran it through a filter.
I mean, just to kind of make it sound like it was coming through a phone, but yeah,
Gotcha.
no, that's me doing it. Really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is Star Noir. It's like LA Noir meets the X-Files, as the trailer alluded to. It is about a 1940s detective named Alan Miller who teams up with this gray alien to stop a shapeshifter who is killing LAPD officers in Central Station. In 2022, we made the first book here. And we raised over 10K, and then went to Indiegogo and raised another 4K. And then we in November we did the second book on Kickstarter, and that raised over 11K. And now here we are back on Indiegogo again, doing a second chance campaign for those who missed the Kickstarter, because I do get a lot of those messages.
Nice.
I'm realizing now we did a cross promotion, I think, with Reign of Dracula on this.
I thought it was a Cicada Samurai.
Maybe it was Cicada. Yeah,
yeah,
it was one of those. I did those two close to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been pretty awesome to make. I work with like an amazing art team. Everything that they send me just continues to blow me away. There are six books in this murder mystery. All of it is written. We're just making the books and then trying to crowdfund the next one. Make the book and crowdfund it, in the opposite direction actually. But yeah, if if you missed the Kickstarter, if you're interested in checking it out, there are tiers to get both books 1 and 2, both physically and digitally. And you can even read the first 9 pages just by clicking like a preview of the first book totally for free. And if anybody watching this backs it by Friday, I'm gonna throw in this print here. This little.
Nice.
It's a panel from one of the books from the first book, where our lead character has his first alien encounter. Oh, if you want me to
show it again. There you go. Nice.
Very cool.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah. So it's been fun. We sort of just ping pong between Kickstarter and Indiegogo, just using the Indiegogo as a second chance campaign, and then once it crosses its goal, it becomes a storefront until all the books are fulfilled, and then the cycle flips over back to Kickstarter again.
Right? Can I ask you, Tony, why did you choose Indiegogo for your second time around the block? Why not one of the other crowdfunding sites?
Because of the brand recognition, I kind of alluded to earlier. It's like sort of like Kickstarter and Indiegogo are sort of like the Coke and Pepsi of crowdfunding. So, and I also like the in-demand feature that Indiegogo has, where it just like always looks like the campaign is active even after it's done.
Gotcha. Now, are you doing an all or nothing, or are you doing the flexible?
No, we did flexible. Yeah, we did flexible for the first book as well. Because I never know how Indiegogo is going to perform, so it's always kind of a toss up. So just trying to cover all my bases. But yeah, just trying to expand the readership as much as possible. And the Indiegogo the last time was just really beneficial for us. So I decided to come back.
And for anybody watching, I've been putting links to every campaign in the comments. I know Calderon puts them in the show notes also, but they're in the comments, so they're popping up. If you are interested in any of the books that you've been seeing this evening, look through the comments and then click.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So, Tony, so you've been on the show a couple of times. So, this is issue 2.
Yep.
Now, what are we looking at for issue 3?
In terms of story, I can't.
Date. Dropping. When do you expect? When do you think are you looking at later on this year?
About the same time as the first 2 books, like the fall. That's usually where they kind of land.
Okay.
So they're 48-page books, correct?
The first book is a 42-page book, and then with all the extras, it's a 48-page book. And then the second book is actually going to be 46 full story, and then 52 with all the extras.
Now, very beefy.
Yeah,
very beefy. Now, this is going to be a 3-issue arc, a 4-issue arc. What's up?
6 books. 6 books.
6 books. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the second book just really blows the doors off. People really love the first book. The readership for it has been like really, really strong. Really passionate. It was funny. Like halfway through the Kickstarter of the second book, I was a little nervous about making my goal, and then I told my backers about it in a mailing list thing. And they were like, "Oh, it's not up to you if it's successful. It's up to us now. Like that's how much we're super into this book." So it's been awesome. I feel really blessed to have a great, amazing team and amazing readers.
Right. Listen, we all know the book is coming out because the Kickstarter did well, and this looks like it's going to do awesome.
Mm.
That looks like a book I would see like on the shelf of every comic store in the country. It just looks good.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Moonshine a bit. Like that's solid.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All righty. Let's see what we do now.
Segues are so shitty.
Yeah, they are. I'm sorry.
It goes up and down. It's like a fucking roller coaster.
Yeah. I know.
I am wearing a hat. You could do something with the word cap.
There you go.
I have a jovial demeanor, so you can't really use mad too much, but either way. This is on pre-launch right now. Launches in late April. This is a fantasy setting 3-issue mini-series. This is just issue number 1, The Madcaps. And as it says there, a medieval fantasy mini-series about the reunion of 4 friends interrupted by a local drug problem. I have been picking away at this for over 2 years now. And it's been driving me nuts not to talk about it with anybody. I started showing images late September, and I've had a lot of positive feedback. I'm very encouraged to finally show. Although this is just the pre-launch, it doesn't show too much. If you want, I've got some images here I can present for you.
Cool. You can share them, or you can
share screen. Here we are.
Yeah.
Window right here. Share. There we go. Here's the main cover, and that's the 4 main characters, the friends.
Oh, nice.
This is drawn by Jimbo Salgado, and it's colored by the I was going to say Notorious, but I mean it in a good way. Notorious Dan Kemp from his one of his most famous things he's done is roughly 100 issues of Spawn, basically 50 to 150. I've had a lot of fans talk about how they really liked seeing these. One fan said they really like seeing these 2 souls cross. So the line art combined with that colorist apparently is a first. These 4 friends, when they meet up, they're very different. I mean, obviously visually they look different, but they're different in demeanor, temperament. They get along mostly because none of them are human, and their hometown is predominantly human. They have a lot of different quirks and, most importantly, a lot of flaws. Basically, as soon as they finally meet up with each other, there's right in the middle of their city, Ivywood, there's just this undead outbreak, and they don't even get to catch up. They just end up helping the local guards kind of repel and stave this off, and the story goes from there. I'll show off a couple pictures, but I haven't shown anybody this yet, but I can show a couple of I can't English today. I can show a couple of add-ons for the Kickstarter, a couple of images. First, I'll show the covers. Actually, this one's a pinup poster. This is drawn by Sean Langley, and of course, colored by Dan Kemp as well. Kind of Sean's interpretation of the description of what happens in the comic. Very happy with how that turned out. This is one of the characters. His name is Madrakis, large serpent-like individual that can basically vomit lightning. That's hand-painted by John Zalesnik. I've seen his art as early as the first Ninja Gaiden for the NES. The cover art, that's the same skill right there, the same individual who painted that. I want to make sure I go the right way here. That one's done by Erica Hollis. That's digital. We have that's done in Eni. That is digitally done, but it's made to look like it's painted. It's done by Jenna Stark in New York. You can see that smoking telescope, and then you can see the blasted out tree stump in the front, and the look of excitement on his face that his contraption actually worked. And then lastly, if you guys know the artist Javier Salteras, he drew the first year of Volume 2 of Ghost Rider, where Dan Ketch became a writer. And
Javier Salteras, yeah.
And also colored by Dan Kemp. I was very lucky to get all this talent. Just very, very beside myself. This is my first comic, and I've been very careful, much like Isaac has been saying. I do have a loose document, not necessarily a manual, but I've been taking my time a lot on this. In regards to add-ons, I'm going to stop sharing this. It's in a different window. Present. Share screen. Window. There it is there. As I was mentioning, this takes place in... it's based off of the first homebrew campaign I've ever run, like D&D, Pathfinder, that type of thing. So one of the add-ons is miniatures. You could actually play in D&D or Pathfinder. You can see the 4 characters there. And I also have a 20-sided dice, which is very common in D&D or Pathfinder, or any of these things. I haven't seen these in person yet. Just my person printing for me sent me some pictures. So unfortunately, I can't show anything else. But I really like that cool ethereal blue. They're going to be available. They're listed as paintable items. So you'll get them. They'll look something like that. And it's up to you to paint accordingly.
Nice.
Lastly, I know it's in here somewhere. List of here's my comparables. I know you're hiding here somewhere.
So, is this a limited series, one shot? Are you looking at? Are you producing a graphic novel, individual comics? What are we looking at?
Mini series, 3 issues. This is just the first one.
Nice.
This is my first rodeo, so I have. I think it would be borderline arrogant to say I'm going to do this monthly from now on and just have nothing to gauge with. So I'm just testing the waters with this. I have. I'm really just excited to see if I can do something with this. So here's another add-on, which is laser engraved of the main cover, which I think really turned out nice. That was sent as a sample. It can be stained, so anything that's light could have more of a, if you wanted to use walnut, for example, I think that would really pop.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be having more of the add-ons to show as we get closer to the date.
That's looking really good. When are you thinking it's going to drop?
End of April. Okay. End of April, it's going to be dropped through Philip Russert of Filbo Publishing. I gave my script to Philip to have a review after he's seen some of my art, and he was impressed enough. He bought in, and he wanted to represent my comic. I was very flattered, very fortunate. This is my first time I've ever written a comic, and I guess it must be half decent. But you don't really know, as already mentioned, you don't really know until the backers, they do the speaking for you, not yourself, really.
Mm-hmm. True enough. Yeah, but it looks really good. So, once you have it back up, we'll bring it back on, and then we can actually go through the real campaign.
Right on.
Should be awesome, But real quick, I just want to throw this up. I'm launching my next campaign tomorrow. It's for the Oswald Chronicles. It broke free and couldn't read trade paperback. So 140 pages. It's the original 4-issue limited series, plus the pro stories that it was based on. So we will be doing that tomorrow. So,
did you say 140 pages?
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
That's big.
Well, the comic section of it is 120 pages, and then there's 20 pages of prose. And there might be some illustration. It might actually be a little bit longer. It might actually end up being like 148, something like that. So, but yeah, this would be I don't know, number 2 for the year. So I'm gonna see if I can get to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ambitious!
Right on.
Hey, listen, I got 4 trades to release this year. So
I was on a live stream a few days ago with Pat Shand, and I think he launched like 3 campaigns during the live stream.
Yeah, that dude is crazy. That dude
crazy.
I was trying to do 4 this year, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
That dude is nuts. So here, I got a simple question for you guys, right? I don't know how many of you do alternative covers. I know some of us are fans of them. Some of us are. I usually have an A cover and a B cover for my campaigns, right? And the one thing that I usually see with these covers is some people. Do you guys like poses, or do you like scenes from the book? Right. So which is your preference? Would you prefer like a pose of a character just looking cool on the cover, or do you prefer a scene from the actual book looking cool from the book? So Isaac, you do multiple covers. So what's your preference?
We do more than I always end up doing more than I intended to. We do something a little bit different. What I try to do is I do a set like thematic sets. So like Succubus number 3 has the D&D inspired set, which has characters in D&D-esque outfits: a Hell Knight, a Paladin, a Rogue, or a Necromancer. Those things don't happen in the book, not at all. The scenes that are in it, the outfits they're wearing, those aren't in the book. But they fit into the character archetype, so it works out pretty nicely. We do a little bit of mixture. I like the ones where it fits the theme of what the book is. One reason I think that Lady Death is so phenomenal is that the covers that they do for that always seem. I've never seen her on a cover and thought that is not Lady Death. I've always seen it and go, it makes total sense that she would be in that situation right there. Love it. So I try to take that kind of approach. There are certain characters that we have that I don't know. I wouldn't put certain characters in certain situations because it doesn't canonically make sense for that character. But try to mix it up a little bit is what I do. I usually, like I said, I pick a theme and I follow along that theme for that run. whatever that may be. With what we have coming next, with it being a cosplay book, that one's pretty easy. Just throw characters in sexy cosplays that are loose enough to be familiar, but not close enough to get me sued, and throw them in a convention setting. We're good to go. Because some companies, I have some colleagues of mine who make comics that are Jose Varese is a great example of that gentleman. He's a fantastic artist. He does, I think it's Tight Lines is what he calls his book, and it's all like Jessica Rabbit, but like she'll have a bunch of tattoos and stuff. So she's legally distinct enough where he's okay.
Right.
But it's still everything kind of fits into a thematic set that he's created. So that's kind of what I try to do, is just create like a theme and revolve around that theme for that run.
All right, that's fair. Tony, what are your thoughts?
I don't do variant covers. I just just try to keep it simple. I always think about like what fulfillment is like for all those covers. So I just try to keep it to just one cover. But if I did a second one, it would be like on theme, like the Star Noir books 1 and 2. Those covers are based on like 1940s movie posters. So a variant of that would be another 1940s movie poster.
Yeah, cool. Jerry, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think it depends on the campaign and the audience you're going for. I think like if you're doing a book like Isaac's, I think it makes sense to have a bunch of options and kind of be clever with how they're themed. Like on Grizzly Crew, I've only got 2, just because I knew I had 2 artists who I thought both would have like nice renderings of the characters. I have 3, but like for Cicada Samurai, I also was not super particular with the artists generally about like what the characters look like. So with Cicada Samurai, my main book artist did 2 of my 4 covers. The original person who did my character designs and couldn't do the interiors, I used his character design as a cover. And then Walt Flanagan did a cover that looks nothing like the other ones. It's just like it looks like an angry man like tearing other men apart with but in a cicada outfit. But I also did in my Reign of Dracula campaign, we kind of accidentally ended up with 28 covers, which is like if you include the versions and all the trades. We had 7 planned. That was the plan, 7, so 14 version and trade. And then halfway through the campaign, when we were hitting, you hit that lull, and the artist was like, I do a lot of 3D modeling as my day job. You think a 3D modeling rendering of like a few of these characters would be like an interesting? And I was like, yeah, that would be really cool, Les. Thanks. And so we ended up adding, I think, 6 more covers, each with a virgin. And
actually, he ended up charging you for 6 more covers.
You know what? Les owns part of the IP. He does it all. It's all for profit.
Oh, lucky devil!
Yeah. Which is a deal I did not. I inherited that whole book is something I inherited. Rich Davis writes it. Les is the artist. And so any work he did, I called him every time something came up that was going to make him busier. I called him and I went, "Are you sure? Because you're already like in for a lot of work here." And he was always like, "I don't mind." He's like the Terminator. He just kind of churns it out. But he did 6 more covers midway through the campaign that we kind of launched as a revamp of the campaign. And I'm in fulfillment now, and it's a nightmare. So it's just an absolute nightmare. And I would probably do it again because I'm a moron.
Because we're maskers.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. We're here to make ourselves too busy doing things like that, and So it depends on the audience. I think for a kid's book, an all ages book, I'm just not sure that there's a real need or desire or market out there for there's not a ton of people going, let me get all the covers, for the Grizzly Crew,
right.
But for something like Reign of Dracula or Succubusted, I could totally see that being collectors out there wanting their favorite, waifu artists doing their rendition of those characters.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense that way.
Yep. Ray, what are your thoughts?
I think it really depends on, it's situational, I think, each time. For me personally, I wanted to keep the covers down. The only reason I had 5 total is I wanted 1 for each character. This is the first time they're introduced. For my next issue, I think I'm only going to be using 3, and it's going to be specifically related to that comic. When Harvey Salteras made the one comic, or that one cover for me of the dwarf holding the beheaded demon there, He said when we were talking, he said his favorite type of cover is when it invited you into the story. If you went back to like say 60s, 70s, it was almost like I remember one issue of Amazing Spider-Man where it says, "Why is Spider-Man helping Doc Ock rob this bank? Jump in and find out," kind of thing.
Right.
On the flip side, I always appreciate just a really good dynamic cover, even if it is not relevant to the story. And I think it just really depends. I think they could be played poorly, but then sometimes I can understand maybe 21 different covers. If it works out, it works out, right? All the power to you, of course.
Mm-hmm. Too true. I think Polito has something in the 40s
per
like
issue?
as far as covers per issue. I think he does something like 40 plus covers.
His office is literally down the street from the print shop, and he has a full-time warehouse staff. That helps that a little bit. Cuts down the shipping cost, cuts down some costs, and also makes it way faster. I can't imagine doing that many. I've made the mistake of doing too many before, and it's like, okay, this is going to be a lot of work.
Gotcha.
I'll take it over anything else in the world, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. I'm surprised he hasn't bought the printing place yet. You know, maybe that's next.
Weird. A lot of the Marvel and DC, I think, have bought some of their own printing presses now. Like the bigger ones are starting to do that.
I don't know.
Cut out the middleman.
I don't think so, because the operations they tend to use are huge. Like they're bigger sometimes, and like they're bigger operations than, let's say, Marvel or DC themselves.
It's surprising the number of former professionals who've left Marvel and DC that I've met, or bigger companies that end up buying their own press and running their own shop. And it's surprisingly common.
Mm-hmm. No, that I've seen. Yeah, you can definitely buy digital presses and go to work. You know, some of the ancillary equipment is a pain in the ass to get a hold of, but you can get it.
Last time I remember a publisher owning their own press. Not that it didn't happen afterwards, but I remember Charlton Comics had they were running it 24 hours a day, and they were like taking contracts for books that weren't theirs, you know, and doing it on the third shift just to keep the presses running so that the guys could get paid.
Mm-hmm. All right, Kenny, what are your thoughts on the question?
I like both. I started out when I started out with Apex, I started out doing lots of covers, and then kind of realized that it's a lot of extra work that really doesn't, add up to a whole lot. So I think simplicity is better, not only for me, but for the backers too, because sometimes when I go to a campaign, there's like 30 covers. I'm like, shit, I don't know what to buy. So it just causes me a lot more time to have to look through all the stuff and figure out what it is I actually want. I mean, choices are good. I think if some people like that, that's cool. I like to keep it simple and I've been doing one or two, sometimes three, and keeping it to about that. So.
All right, cool. Mr. J, you're up again.
As long as it's not the Amazing Spider-Man number 300 homage style cover, I don't care what people do, bro. Really, I mean, if you got the money to do it, and it's going to increase your bandwidth and it's going to raise your sales, then fucking do it. I know.
I thought that was your next cover up, though.
It is. No, I can't. That one, the Crisis on Infinite Earths cover where he's holding Supergirl.
Yeah, Jesus Christ,
done forever.
Spider-Man #1, Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, we're jumping. Yeah,
that one's been done a lot. He's crouched over with the spiders around him.
Yeah. Oh shit, I'm thinking about Fantasy 15. Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh no, the one when McFarlane got his own run.
Right.
That #1. That's always homaged a lot.
What's the issue of the Hulk with Wolverine on the cover with
the blades?
Well, similar, because that's my question. That's my question for everybody, bro. And it was going to be the perfect lead-in.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
What?
No,
what
it's terrible.
What homage cover do you think is overused in the independence community?
All right, so you got my answer.
Okay.
The dynamic one of Superman about to start flying down again.
One.
Also him crashing the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Apparently he's saving the car. It looks like he's smashing it into the wall to me, but
Yeah.
We did a really cool one for Apex. That was I think it was, I can't remember. It was Batman where Bane was breaking. Batman. I can't remember which issue that one was. You've probably seen it, JD. I think.
Yeah, we've all seen it.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I think there's a lot of movie posters. You know.
Okay.
People do a lot of movie posters. Like there's a lot of Indiana Jones movies, Indiana Jones posters and things like that. I think it kind
really
of
the
Star Wars
style.
Yeah, there's like the one where he's standing at the mouth of the Temple of Doom. There's a few indie books I've seen use that.
Okay.
The classic Batman one.
What do you see out there that's been overused?
It's kind of hard to say because I don't say anything bad about anybody else doing the industry, but if the only thing I ever see, like
Calderon, if you want,
the only thing I ever see, I would do that. The only thing I ever see used a lot because I come more from the manga and anime crowd. I see a lot of the Kentaro Miura's guts in the Berserker armor pose used a lot, all the way from mainstream all the way to independent people. Like, oh, I have a guy with a sword and armor. Let me put him in that exact same pose. So I see that one a decent bit. Most famously used heavily by FromSoft and Dark Souls. They have one of their characters in that pose all the time. Like, okay, we get it. Everybody likes Berserk. We know. Okay, it's great. Yes, and I will probably at some point in time make a cover homaging that myself. So I will absolutely point at myself and be like, "What are you doing?" And then do it anyways.
Nice.
Tony, what are your thoughts?
I see a lot of that Batman Detective Comics number 27 or whatever it was, where he's like swinging with the bad guy or whatever.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that homage a lot. I mean, if you want to, it's fine. I for Star Noir, the second book is an homage to the Maltese Falcon movie poster, and readers really like that. Like to see that. So yeah, if your readers, your backers are into that sort of thing, they like the homage, they like the throwback, then yeah, definitely go for it.
But it's not an overused cover.
No. Good. Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to remain somewhat unique, try not to use an overused cover.
There you go.
Right.
Here's one I don't get.
1987's Justice League #1, where the one where Guy Gardner, right at the bottom, they're all looking up at the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You want to make something of it, I believe is the phrase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
I've seen a lot lately, surprisingly.
Yeah, Isaac was talking about some manga and anime. One of the ones I see that's overused is Akira, the movie poster.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't say that because I've done it, so I can't say anything on that one. But it's also because Akira is the one that like opened the floodgates for experimentation with science fiction stories.
We did one for Apex 3 or the next Apex book. It's pretty cool with the giant bear robot. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. No,
the only one I don't get, man. I'm sorry. Is like guys that do like this, especially seeing after the Super Bowl just happened. Is the sports covers like your character like in a particular team's uniform or holding up a trophy or whatever? And all I can think of is like, dude, but what if somebody who would have given you money is a big fan of the other team? And I can tell you from working in the sports world, people who like their teams are fanatically devoted to that team.
Oh yeah,
fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah, and I'm like, so like, Jay, like I'm guessing you're probably a fan of what, Giants, Rangers, those teams.
Jets, Rangers, Yankees. Yeah.
Right. So from having a history with the NHL, I would not make a cover showing the Blackhawks, one of my characters in the Blackhawks uniform, and then try to market it to a guy who's a Rangers fan because he's going to look at me and be like, I hate the Blackhawks. I'm like,
yeah. Fucking Chicago. God damn it.
Exactly. So I'm like, I never quite got that one. But, I mean, the guys that do it are doing great, so more power to them. I don't think I'd do it. I pseudo-done it. I did put my mascot there when my team won the championship in the NBA. I put her in that outfit. But stylized enough where I wouldn't get in trouble legally.
Gotcha.
So I'm a little guilty of it myself, but still.
All right, gentlemen. Normally I have a co-host. I kind of overbooked, so I said, we dropped him. So I'm going to open it up to the panel. What?
Who'd you drop?
The dude that I dropped of the 4 or 5 people that I normally invite. So one of those dudes. So just, eeny, miny, mo, pick one. I dropped. But I'm going to open it up to the panel. Does anybody have a question they want to ask the rest of the panel? Just out of curiosity. If not, I do have a question.
Don't all speak up at once.
There you go. All right. So I got a process question for everybody. That's fine. Listen, I prep questions.
I do have one.
Like I said,
Isaac has one. Let him ask. Let him ask.
This is something I've learned. Who here has been a teacher at some point in their life? Like your career has been teaching?
No.
Okay.
You can tell because I raised my hand instead of said anything.
What I have learned is like 95% of people in comics have been a teacher or are a teacher, myself included. Everybody I've ever met to, like I've talked to Marvel's guys, DC guys, like, oh yeah, I taught this. I taught for a few years for high school. I taught like a college or an academy for a while. Like, everybody seems to do it.
My wife's a teacher. Does that count?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I helped her bring some stuff into her classroom one year, so I was kind of a teacher's assistant.
I would count it because Paul Dini got to do the Zatanna run, and his wife's a magician, and that's not fair. So you get that, plus you get to be that good of a writer. No, screw you, man. That's not fair. And I love Paul Dini. So yeah, I'd count that.
All right.
Does that go back to the original threat of I hope you're stuck in traffic and soil yourself? Full circle. We got.
Why do you get to be that good?
You notice he's a teacher because he said soil yourself instead of shitting your pants. You know what I mean?
I could say it either way. I think earlier I said to shit oneself. I think is how I worded it before.
You got to go full Monty, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to go for the goal, bro.
I go full Sammy.
They teach you to like
I
switch
say
in
it
your brain for your
literally, and I
language.
try to sound intelligent, which just makes me sound that much more mature, kind of like a John Cleese or something like that.
Cool. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. But I got a question from Michael. He asks, are Kickstarters with black and white interiors more likely not to reach their pledge goals?
I think that depends. If it's been colored before and now it's being released a second time, I think there's a risk there.
Okay, that's
but
fair.
If it's black and white from the start, it's that's the story, right?
Mm-hmm. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Less likely.
Yeah, unless they're trying to do like a Sin City type of thing where they're kind of using color specifically. But yeah, black and white, I would think would be more of an uphill battle.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Isaac, what are your thoughts?
So why you got to call me out like that? Like the first book we ever did just uses we called it BWC, black, white, and crimson was the only things we used on it.
Very cool.
And the one we did, we fully colored it, didn't resonate as well with audiences as just using the traditional style did. So we went back to, for the next issue, we went back to using just black, white, and crimson again.
Very interesting.
So I think that they absolutely can. I think what it comes down to is knowing your audience, knowing who you want to market to, and how to get to them.
Interesting. All right, cool. Kenny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if it's an intentionally done, stylistic choice, I don't think it should be a problem at all. I think that's just the way you market it, right? So I think colored books do well, and not colored books do good too. So I back both kinds. So.
All right, cool. Jerry, what are you thinking?
I mean, I don't have any statistics on it to answer the question specifically, but I bet there's probably some statistics somewhere that black and white books raise less money. I don't know if they're more or less likely to hit your goal, because I think a lot of people will go into a black and white book with the lower goal to begin with, because it costs them less to produce it if they're not paying a colorist. So it's hard to answer that question specifically, but I think I agree with what everyone else said. I think it's depends on your audience. It depends on how you market it. It depends on if it's intentionally black and white because it was an artistic choice, or if you didn't want to pay a colorist. So you're printing it in black and white, for now or something. I think that's probably less likely to curry favor with the backers.
I would gently point out a stat that I'm not personally happy about, and that is that manga now outsells American comic books, and it's not even a close competition. So go to your local Books A Million or a big name bookstore and look at the size of the comic section, which will probably be at an 8-foot section, and then go look at the manga section, which will be 2 or 3 entire aisles, including center displays. And the manga rarely colors the books inside.
Yep.
That's the simple part because it comes out so fast.
Well, you can find it everywhere too. I mean, it's in Target, it's in any major store now, and comics aren't anywhere.
Yep. You find them in Walmart.
I'm not happy about that. I'd rather see us win on the home front here. Hopefully, us independent guys can help turn that around a bit, but it isn't the current reality.
Jay, what are your thoughts?
I'm stuck in the middle of that because I've had some that have succeeded, and I've had some that I've had one that failed. It was stylistic because it was a zombie book, and I feel all good zombie tales should be in black and white, not just because of Walking Dead, but because of some of the early zombie movies. So I am going to take another shot at releasing the one that failed last year for numerous reasons that I've talked about many, many times. So I'm not going to keep saying it. But yeah, my next book is going to be a black and white zombie book. You know, we're gonna take another spin around the block, see if we can get it funded.
All right, very nice, very nice. I wanted to save this for last for myself because I actually produce my books in black and white. The covers are in color and the interiors are in black and white, and they're done in grayscale, right? So the artist goes in and she grayscales them up. So, you know, you have tones and you have all kinds of things going on in there. So it looks really cool. But the thing is my business model is also a little different. My business model is to start them in black and white, produce a limited series, produce a trade paperback, and then eventually somewhere down the road, produce them in color, and then release them again in color. My thought process behind that is that as an independent publisher, I have to be able to maximize my costs on every step of the road. You understand? It may hurt me when I move into the color, but it may not. So I don't know yet. But I'm moving in that direction. It's happening. It's going to happen this year. So it's going to be interesting to see it.
I had my Reign of Dracula, which I published but didn't write or draw, is we're doing that in black and white for Kickstarter, and we did an ink wash. You know, we did it like the artist does ink washes too. So he did an ink wash for that, which looks really great. And his inks are very heavy and kind of like cool. And so we did it on purpose as an exclusive for Kickstarter. And so it'll never be printed in that format again. When like down the road, we are putting it in stores. We're doing like traditional distribution. And when we do that, it'll be color, it'll be full color, and it comes out in issues and stuff. But like for Kickstarter, we made it not just black and white, but it also is it's 3 double issues instead of 6 floppies. Yeah. So your first issue is like 46 pages, and it's going to be, you know, a little thicker and stuff like that.
No, that's really cool because one of the things I do with my individual issues is that they're limited edition to 250 copies. I sign a number each issue, so you're getting something unique in that format. So you know that one's going to be unique to that. So so it just depends. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but it also depends on how much money you're trying to make. If you're trying to make $30,000, you might have a problem. If you're trying, if you're just trying to make a couple thousand, it's possible. It just depends where you're at.
That's the question you have to ask yourself anytime you approach anything like this. Are you doing this because you have a passionate idea you want to get out? Or do you want this to be your entire life? And you have to make that decision. I started off doing it as a passion, and I said, I like this. This is the first thing I've ever felt motivated to do in my entire life. So it became my life. But I don't think I'd recommend that. To be honest, I really wouldn't.
I mean, I've been self-publishing since '92. It's a very expensive hobby for me, that I just enjoy doing. Some people play golf, right? And, golf's not cheap. You might think, you just own a set of clubs. Clubs is $20,000 in that bag, bro.
And if you're tall, you want fitted clubs, and those are even more expensive.
Exactly. So, and then if you're going to go travel around the country to play at different, golf tournaments or whatever, different place you want to play at different clubs, it's expensive. It's a very expensive hobby. So I don't think it's any different. The only difference is that I actually can offset my expenses on Kickstarter. Where did Jay just disappear? All right, Jay, you got another question, or you want me to?
No, ask yours. Ask yours. Go ahead.
All right, gentlemen. So I got a process question for you guys, right? Most of us, so everybody here is a writer on some level, or just a writer, right? Only Kenny's an artist. I know you write as well. I think Kenny's the only artist here. So when you guys prepare scripts for your artists, how detailed are you? Do you do panel by panel, page by page? Are you a little bit more free and loose, kind of like Marvel style? What do you guys do for, in prep for your artists? Let's start with Jerry.
I adapt to the artist. So I've worked with 2 artists in that capacity so far. I didn't know what my own writing style was going in. I work in television, so I've written for TV, and that's a lot more like regimented, because when you're writing for television, especially if it's like scripted television, there are multiple departments that all have to take data from this manual that you're creating and disappear into their own corners and build their own parts of this world and then come back together later. It all has to fit together. So you have to be super specific. You can't be vague. You can't be open-ended. It causes a lot of problems with different departments. And so I kind of found it liberating that, like, with comic writing, you can kind of just build a relationship with you're writing a manual, but it's just for one person. It's just for the artist. And you can kind of adapt to what they want. So with Cicada Samurai, I did both. There were pages that I had very specific ideas about a panel and what it was and what it looked like. And there are times where I would write, something more vague, where I would just say, like, I think this page is 6 panels. I want the viewer, the reader, to fall in love with this character. So I kind of want it to feel open and bright and nice, because on the next page, I'm going to kill this guy and I want everyone to be heartbroken. But for Grizzly Crew, my artist prefers a full script with detailed panels and stuff like that. So I really can, like, adapt to whoever I'm working with and kind of do something that works with them, that works for them.
Nice. Okay.
All right, cool. All right, let me work a little bit of reverse. So Tony, what are your thoughts? How do you prepare a script?
Well, when I first wrote a comic, I did it the annoying way and overloaded every single panel description with so much detail. And then once a few artists very politely,
school?
Yeah, once a few artists very politely told me how annoying that was, I focused more on just kind of being as succinct as possible in each panel. Just kind of just focused on what the most important what is in that panel, and letting the artist just take over the how you want to show that.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Fair enough. Isaac, what are your thoughts?
I think it's Dark Horse several years ago put out a example of what they believe a comic script format should look like. And I was fortunate enough to find that, and I've used that for every script that I make. I do that format. That being said, the terminology I use and descriptions I use are dependent upon the artist. Most of my artists are not native to the English language. They are far smarter than I am. They speak like 4 or 5 languages. So in their case, I will not use words that are too grandiose, as they're just not everyday terminology. For the most part, I tailor it to that individual artist, and I give them the gist of what I want. Occasionally I will be specific, like I want a cutout panel of a character doing this, or I need the angle from this, I need it from this angle. Occasionally, but for the most part, it's this is what's happening in the scene, this is what I want happening, and it needs to be able to fit with. If I can't describe a panel within 3 or 4 sentences, then I usually will not do it, or I'll rearrange, because at that point I have to remind myself I'm not writing a novel, I'm writing a description for a panel. And an artist knows way more about panel layout and art than I do, so give them the freedom they need to show off what they can do.
Here.
Fair enough. Kenny?
I promise you I cannot draw, nor do I try.
But Kenny can. So what are your thoughts, Kenny?
I pretty much do the same thing as he does. Basically, I'll go in, I'll have a page. I'll say, like, page 1 will be 5 panels. The first panel, I kind of have this. I kind of lay it out a little bit more detailed. I'll say, like, this panel, Apex is flying across the countryside, and this panel, he's cutting the head off of this thing over here. But I don't usually, unless there's something very specific I'm going for, like in a big, like, establishing shot or something like that, I usually leave the camera angles to Brian when he's drawing Apex anyways, to just kind of let him decide how he wants to, do the panel layout and make things look. Sometimes I'll ask for things like, I want to have, like, a big cutout of Apex, in the middle of the page or something like that, where he's, busting out through all the panels and all that stuff. But for the most part, I kind of let him, make the decisions on most of the, the angles, what we're looking at and stuff like that. So I think I did hear about that Dark Horse book layout too at one point. I don't think I ever went to it, though. I think when I first started looking into writing comic books, it was I really had a hard time finding resources, so I actually looked up screenplay writing, and I found that's kind of similar in a way, where they kind of have the dialogue laid out and stuff like that in the scenes, how they do it. So thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, there isn't really a set comic like rule about that. Like there isn't like an industry standard. You can do it in a Word document. I have Final Draft because of my TV work, and it actually has a few different like templates built into it for comics. But even those are they're similar, but they're completely different from each other, and you can't really, you don't really.
I think that's really the cool thing about making comics is like you kind of just everybody's just kind of doing their own thing and just kind of doing it their own way and just figuring it out as they go, and then this is kind of what we end up with in the end. So
I will say Google Docs is an amazing resource. I write my scripts using that, and then you can highlight them and put a comment on it. Like for example, my artists are not in the United States, so we need to have scenes that involve firearms. Mitsu Blinger had to do double barrel shotgun for this little girl right here. I was like, okay. And when she first drew it, she had bullets coming out. Okay, that doesn't work that way. I need to explain this to you. Like, I just should have put in the comments to get with me on this gun, how this works. And I'm like, okay, so this is how this gun works. We're not going to go into choke and all of that. And I have to stress to them who are not from the United States. I'm like, well, most of our comics are read by Americans who will take anything accurate with guns very seriously. Therefore, we need to make sure it functions appropriately. And that's just kind of learning the artist and making sure that you put it. Google Docs breaks, you put a note saying, hey, when you get to this panel, get with me and I'll give you the references. Or people who make cosplay stuff are amazing because they have videos where they will make like cosplay like revolvers and firearms, and each part is a different color. And you can send them that video like, hey, this is how it works. There's everything in it. That's all you need to know. So bless the cosplay prop manufacturers. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Nice. Ray, what are your thoughts?
Well, as already mentioned, I'm a big fan of Google Docs. In regards to, this is the first issue I've ever gone from script to inked to colored to lettered. For me, I remember I watched an interview once of Todd McFarlane talking about his process on action figures. And he talked about having to sign off on about 7 different steps to make sure there wasn't anything missed or anything that didn't need to be excessively reworked after. And for me, I was kind of in that realm of very informative, very thorough on what I was looking for. And then I took pictures of drawings I had on a whiteboard of panels. I had an idea. And then I disclaimed to the artist, this is my first time. If you think there's something that's going to look better than what I'm describing here, I trust your instincts and go with it. So I gave an excessive amount of information, which could backfire on me, but I made sure it didn't by saying, go with what you feel. If you think something's going to look better, then try it out. I'm sure it'll look better because you're going to have more experience than me on the topic. The end product, I was working with Evan Quiring. He's of Cyclone Studios. We worked very well together. I'm really happy with how everything turned out for the interiors. He did a good job.
All right, cool. Mr. J.
Yeah, Isaac, what's up, buddy?
I was going to ask Ray when we're going to get together and tell Google they got to start paying us for their product here. Like, where's that check coming from, Google? Come on, we're both doing it here. You got to pay us.
Well, apparently they've had a lot of layoffs lately, so not anytime soon. But I'm happy to take in royalty checks anytime.
They're not laying people off because they don't have cash. They're laying people off because they have AI. So they got cash. They got cash to spend.
Definitely have cash.
Yep. So, Jay, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't use Google Docs because I got a premium Dropbox account. So all my stuff is uploaded on that. Dropbox, pay me that money, baby. Whatchamacallit. But I tailor the scripts to the artist. So if it's somebody I've worked before that we got a rapport, it's not super vague, right? But I'm definitely going more for character beats, emotional moments, and I'm setting the entire page in that first section. My template is I use a simple WordPad document, right? And it's page and indented panel, and then dialogue is indented again. And I'll copy and paste and recycle those same things further down. My dialogue, again, for me, because I do the lettering with my wife, it's not exact, right? My dialogue is not finalized until we're lettering because I don't know what the panels are going to look like, right? So they could be managed on the page. Yeah. There could be something that I don't need to say in the dialogue that maybe I can add something else to. So it's more intention, it's more emotion, and sometimes my scripts are just not that it is. I just talk on the phone to the artist, but we'll go over the script also. You know, so I don't have a set format. I'm really loose. I'm not an anal retentive person. It needs to be like this, unless I gotta point out Chekhov's gun earlier in the issue or anything like that. That's it. I'm not specific for anything other than that.
Yeah, fair enough. For myself, I mean, for a short period, about 3 years, I worked professionally. And when I was doing that, I had to work with editors. So I had to format scripts in a certain way that the editors can understand. So it would be page 1, and then I would break it down, and I would hand them the scripts, and I would break it down to 24 page, because we were contracted to do 24-page books. So everything had to be broken down to 24 pages. I did this knowing I would hand it to my artist, who I've been working with before, who I knew would absolutely ignore all that stuff and just do whatever the hell he wanted. Okay? I mean, he would follow my story. Everything would be there, but he was going to pace it however he wanted to pace it. So normally, when he was done, and because the publishing company we were working with was relatively new to it, they let him get away with murder. So we were contracted to do 24 pages. He would bust out a 30 or 32-page book, and he'd be like, there you go, it's 32 pages. Sorry, guys. And then they'd have to cut me a check for those extra 8 pages, which is great. But
I'm sorry. And I the only thing I hate that I will say do not do is I hate double page spreads. I really hate double page spreads, especially when they're not the centerpiece image. I fucking can't stand double page spreads. Pre-pass on double page spreads is a pain in the fucking ass. And then sometimes you got those slick artists who are just turning their shit fucking landscape and think they could get away with the image. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying you fucking 2 pages for that fucking landscape shot, man. Come on.
That's different. But I mean, that's different. But I actually like double page spreads. I actually want to produce a comic where it's just all double page spreads. Just produce one.
Why not just do the gatefold fucking?
We'll call it the J homage comic.
You can make it about J Rosario.
Yep, there you go. I would dedicate definitely to J.
I would have if you put that on crowdfunding, whatever the heaviest backer tour is, or backer tier is rather, I would do it. And
because you know what, I'd help him put together. I'm like, make it a $2,500 tier. Let's see.
I guess you just got to do the very last page is a homage to him, but it's the paint me like one of your French girls pose of him lying on the couch. Just do that and just don't tell him about it. Like, here you go, man.
Like one of your points.
You gotta do one of them in a big cathedral, and he's down on his hands and knees praying that you'll shit yourself while you're on the train.
No. I like where you're going, but let me the editor's twist on this, right? The writer's twist. Well, I'm on my hands and my knees in the cathedral because I didn't make it to the bathroom in time, and I was the one that shit myself in the middle of the goddamn queue.
Yeah.
Too much?
Too much. Quote the Raven asked, he was watching Lepresi. Aaron is a nice guy. I like his stuff. But you should have been here. But what is the notion of saturation points being reached? Basically, I think we all come to the consensus that they haven't been reached, and that there's still room to grow, which is, I think, a good place to be, right, guys?
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I say so. I mean, the bigger the platform gets, the more there is for everybody, and that's better for us.
Carlos has the best line in there.
What?
Even if they don't speak Spanish. So to my French and British artists, I am definitely speaking in Spanish to them.
There you go. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, this was a lot of fun. Thank you all for being here. This was actually really cool. We reached the second hour, which is good. So let's start with Ray. Where can we find you in your work, sir?
You can find me on Facebook as DM Ray. You can find me on Instagram and as what I like to call Twixter. You can find me as Raymond the DM on both Instagram and X. Madcaps launches at the end of April. You can find its pre-launch page probably in the comments of the stream that you're watching, or also just look it up on Kickstarter. It's there. I appear to be getting an excellent following. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really happy to finally unleash the action to all the people that are looking forward to backing it.
Very cool.
All right, cool. Kenny, where can they find your work, sir?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, I guess it is now. Kenny Aitken Art. I just launched Moonfire Lab on Instagram. I'll have other pages for that at some point in the future on other social media platforms, and I'm building a website for that too. So, and then I think that's it.
All right, cool. Isaac.
Across Facebook, Instagram, or X, or Twitter, whatever the hell Musk wants to call it now.
Combo.
It is AT Foxy Comics with 2 X's, not 3, because we're not that kind of company. We don't do actual pornography, unless you want to write me a fat enough check, in which case, whatever you want, we'll do it. You can find us on that. You can find us on Kickstarter, is where we are right now. Just Astral Ticket. Come on there and check us out. If you haven't seen any questions, we have people on standby 24/7 to answer questions.
And listen, Isaac, there's nothing wrong with pornography. Back in the day.
No. But the problem is, it's Pandora's box. Once you open it, that label is forever on you, and some of my team don't want that label. Again, though, you write me a check, I will make you a comic about you and Jay right now if you want what you want. But until then,
all double page.
No, it would be
all double page Eagle spreads.
There'll be some spreads, all right.
There you go. No, I wrote La Blue Girl back in the day. That's why. So you know exactly what I mean.
I'm not gonna. I have no idea what that is. I don't know. That sounds like something you do with a black Bible. I don't know anything about that at all.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My wife is gonna be like, "Don't sleep in this bed tonight." You dare sleep in this bed.
Yeah, but it also spun me off to writing Tenchi Muyo. Like this. So there you go.
The goat of all harem anime.
Exactly. Yep. It was a lot of fun. Anyway. Tony, where can he find you and your work, sir?
You can find me on Instagram at BananaBat, where I do a lot of Star Noir panels with old-timey music from the 40s, which is really fun to watch. You can find me on Twitter at T/J. Star Noir Book 2 is on Indiegogo right now. It's a second chance campaign. You can get books 1 or 2, and if you back it this week, a physical tier, you'll get this awesome print.
Nice. Jerry?
All my comic stuff on Twixter, which I'm going to adopt and use from now on, is at Thorny Comics. If you go to, I'm also the only Thorny Comics on Facebook. I use Facebook a lot. And then my my website, thornycomics.com, will always redirect to whatever campaign I'm doing at that moment.
All right. Cool. Mr. Rosario, where can they find you?
Unstoppable Comics. Unstoppablecomics.com. You can find all of our social media links there on the website. That's it. And here, Sundays with Calderon, and Saturdays on my thing, JD Unstoppable on YouTube.
That's right. We actually had a good show yesterday. We actually talked about stuff that was relevant.
Listen, don't sleep on the trivia shit either, bro. We have fun with the trivia stuff too, man.
Did you hear what you said the first time? Trivia shit.
Yeah, trivia shit is fun, bro. Yo, all right, now let me go back into the business mode. We got to get eyeballs on some of this stuff, okay? And a lot more people like trivia than they do talking inside baseball or comic books, bro.
Right, but it conversion.
Yeah, I get it, but you know what? You can't run a nice reel, an interesting, engaging 30-second reel with, what did you think about this element the other day at the convention when we saw, which is what I do. I'm not knocking it, but you can't clip it. You can't make something entertaining out of it. You got to throw the flash in there with the substance, baby. Come on.
I don't know. I've watched those shows. Okay. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video. Let everybody know we're here. And all of these creators are awesome. All of them are running campaigns or will be running campaigns. Go down to the show links. Check out their campaigns because all the links are there. Go check them out. These are all great books. So please just remember, buy more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Night.
Good night.